When you look at this pamphlet right here, what does that mean to you? When you're looking through, is this a culmination of everything?
Yeah.
This building?
I call it my hillbilly presidential library. It is a cultural center. It's a museum. It is a performance center.
Yeah.
And the subtotal of not only my 40-something years of traveling, but pretty much the entire culture of traditional country music.
So that said, has this been in the works for a while?
Yeah, I started collecting.
And I know you have a pretty vast collection.
So yeah, it's probably the largest private collection in the world.
How many items are we talking?
I think 20,000 plus. It's crazy. Got the insurance bill to prove it. But it started in my bedroom when I was a kid, then went into my mom and dad's house, and then it went to a little warehouse, and 2 little warehouses, 3, and now it's becoming a cultural center. I always saw the importance of those treasures.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was just always important looking stuff to me. When I was a kid in Lester Flatt's band, when they throw away their ties after too many TV shows, too much makeup, I said, "Can I have that?" Or a set list, or personal effects, guitar picks, or something. Can I have that?
Where does that sentimentality come from?
Well, I think just a pure love
Yeah.
of that music and those people who the master architects of it. And in the early 80s, I was in Johnny Cash's band. And we went to London. That was my first trip to London. And I heard this southern accent on the street. And it was Isaac Tigert, who was the co-founder of the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
Come see what we're doing. So Isaac took me in the Hard Rock. And there was the Beatles and the Stones and, the Who and Otis Redding on the wall. And even though it was a hamburger joint, I thought they were treating it with a lot of respect. And all the way home back to America, I started making lists. Who wore rhinestone suits, whose stuff, because I was starting to see things.
All the nudie suits?
In junk stores. And
Yeah.
the first item I had bought was Patsy Cline's train case in a junk shop for $75. I thought, this is wrong. And so it became a self-appointed mission to make this, a collection of our culture.
Yeah.
Because those were the people that raised me, that old world of country music. But I was a young guy trying to find my own way, and due to my look and sound, I was a part of this world, so it's kind of and it just looked too important to throw away.
How big is Philadelphia?
Philadelphia, I think the county's about maybe 40,000 people now. And the thing that's important to me about Mississippi, home state, hometown, when you drive across the state line in Mississippi, it says, "Welcome to Mississippi, the birthplace of America's music." And you and I both know everything that has come from there. It is staggering.
Yeah.
It is staggering what has come from there. So in the north part of the state, I think the spiritual home of rock and roll, I would call Elvis's birthplace in Tupelo.
Yeah.
And across the way in the Delta, B.B. put
Yep.
his place, the Blues Cultural Center, B.B. King Museum, Clarksdale Blues Museum. And the Grammys put this, gazillion-dollar facility on the campus of Delta State. So the north state is zipped up. Down in the central state, where I'm from, is Meridian. And that's where they just put in like a $65 million Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Commission.
Yeah.
The little Jimmy Rogers Museum
Yep.
is down there. But the spiritual home of country music will be Philadelphia, Mississippi, and the Congress of Country Music.
So for you, is your childhood home still standing down there?
Yeah.
Do you own it?
No, we don't. But I still have a little cabin out on my grandpa's farm out there, so that's kind of where I go to roost.
What do you think about, it's kind of a loaded question, but what do you think about the road from being that kid in that bedroom to where you are right today?
It's crazy, because the first 2 records I ever owned in my life was a Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs record and a Johnny Cash record. The only 2 jobs I ever had in my life was with Lester Flatt and Johnny Cash. And the girl that I love and married, named Connie Smith, came to my hometown when I was 11.
Yeah.
So it kind of all came to me. And then I went out and got it and made a full circle back home with it.
In a very humble sense, did you always know that this was going to happen? That if you just push hard enough? Like, I mean, when you're a kid, as a writer, I knew this was what I was going to do, hell or high water. Did you have that moment when you were younger too?
Well, I was practicing my autograph in the 3rd grade.
Me too.
And
oh my God, man! It was a 5th grade for me. I went to Catholic school in New York, and I remember my teacher said, "Why do you do cursive?" She goes, "Why do you do? You think you're gonna be famous someday?" I said, "Hell yeah!"
Well, that's what got me kicked out of school, because in Philadelphia back in I'm talking 1972, 71, 72. The only place I could feed my country music habit was the local radio station, the magazine rack at Hamill Drug Store, the record rack at Morgan Lindsay Dime Store, and we had a county fair and a Choctaw Indian fair where they would bring in talent in the summertime. So that was how I got to know it, and I went out on the road when I was 12 with the Sullivan Family Gospel Singers, fell in love with the whole road thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was time to go back to the 9th grade. I was reading a country music song roundup in class and my history book inside of it, you know? And my history teacher knocked it out of my hand. She snuck up on me and said, if you get your mind off that garbage and get it on history, you might make something out of yourself. But back to your statement, I said, well, I'd rather make history than learn about it. Dismissed, you know? What's
Philadelphia look like now?
Well, Philadelphia is,
I guess, compared to when you grew up.
Well, it's pretty much the same town. It's got a little weary around the edges as time has gone on, but this whole center has sparked a whole revitalization thing down there. It's a busy town, man. It's full of people. Hard to find a parking place, but the town is standing back up. It had a rough past, you know. Every time Mississippi Burning plays, whack.
Yeah.
But this town will be known for this in 10 years more so than that, I think.
What does that mean to you that this will be, besides your career, but this will be, I mean, an incredible facility, but it's in your hometown. What does it mean that this building will be rooted in your hometown?
Well, it means the world to me because one of the things that's a huge part of this is the educational component. So I've been working with all 3 schools in the area, and to see these kids get this in their heart and get that in their life, and again, it gives them more than the magazine rack at Hamill Drug Store and the record rack at Morgan Lindsay. It brings it to life, and the entire music industry is coming down here. You know, if you look at the executive directors on this, stupid. And so the world is coming down there.
So you turned 60 last fall.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? What's your thought process now?
Numbers don't apply. I could care less what the number is as long as I feel good. I mean, every guitar I got's older than me. Everything I got is pretty much used and, you know, worn. It's about feeling good, and it's about, you know, having hope.
Yeah.
If I have something in front of me that knows more about me than I know about it, which I try to keep all the projects I can to do that, you know, I'm fine. I don't, you know, all my friends are lifers, you know.
Yeah.
All of my friends.
I think you have to be to survive.
Well, yeah. I mean, Merle Haggard told me one time, he said, "You're a lifer. It takes one to know." And I said, "I think so. I think so."
Too stubborn to leave, don't know what else to do, right?
Where are we gonna go?
Yeah. So, but being 60, it's not all by any means. I mean, that is a really great age to not only have some wisdom on your side, but also reflect on where you're at. Like, how do you view life now?
Well, life changed for me about 20 years ago when I did a record called The Pilgrim. And it was my Line in the Dirt record. I had done all the ass-wiggling hits I needed to do. It was like we were filling up stadiums and we were having crazy success. And one day we were in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and that place was full and it was rocking. And I got sick at my stomach. I went, this ain't country and it ain't rock and roll. It ain't nothing. And so I made a record called The Pilgrim, and I knew it would be a personal and spiritual victory, but probably a a commercial disaster. And that's exactly how it played
Nothing venture, nothing gain now.
But that's right.
Because you did it for the love of it. You know, like, who cares if it didn't work?
I was trying to get back to who I was for real and reach into the sky at the same time. And Johnny Cash, I went to him when he was my next door neighbor. And I went to him one day and I said, "Does it really hurt me that this has been kicked off to the side, this Pilgrim record?" He said, "Would you do it again knowing the full consequences?" I said, "In a heartbeat."
Yeah.
He said, "Are you proud of your work?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, there's your answer." And I thought he was through. And he stood up and then said, "I'll tell you this. Your Pilgrim record will come back around someday." He said, "But the people who you're telling me are going to drop you from your record label, they probably won't be powerful anymore. That record label might not exist anymore. And the things that have been favored over this record will probably have been kicked to the side and forgotten, right on all counts." So the record's coming back out, you know, this fall with bonus tracks and a book around it. It's awesome. But that was the Line in the Dirt that changed my life. And then here comes the Superlatives. Yeah. And then everything we've done since then, I'm proud of. I could go to rest knowing okay.
It's almost one of those things where a lot of people, I say creatively, are afraid to let go, like just let themselves fall into what they feel comfortable. Like just do it. But what is that inside of you that was just like, screw it, you know? Because a lot of times people are afraid to risk, they're afraid to take a chance. But when you let go, that's when the real magic happens.
That's exactly right. Well, at the end of that Pilgrim thing, it's like all of a sudden I didn't have a record label, I didn't have a manager, I didn't have a publishing company.
You do whatever you want now.
I didn't have a band. And I thought, what do I got to lose? How about it? And I've never looked at a chart since then. And my heart became my chart. I said, I will follow my heart into the unknown at any cost. The scarier, the better.